Hey folks, happy Friday. Britt over here. And Moxie Moo, she never gets to make an appearance. So whenever you hear barking in the background, it's this one. She's the smallest, she's the fiercest, she's the loudest, and she's all black, so you can't even really see her, poor thing. But this is Moxie Moo Bean. She's just the sweetest, sweetest girl, and she's gonna sit with me while I talk to you today. She's also the biggest cuddle bunny. You can see her ears, though. There are those ears, those Miss Moxie Moo ears. Anywho, it's Friday. I'm having a really hard time with my hair today. So I just figured, you know what, guys? If you can't see me on a bad hair day, then I'm really not being authentic. So this is me on a really bad hair day. I've actually just tied it in a knot at the back of my head, and that's how it's going to stay. And I'm having a sort of uncharacteristically frantic Friday. So I just jumped in to make a quick video for you guys in between getting ready for our a fairly big Pity Posse Pet Pantry distribution tomorrow. We are bringing food to feed as many of 200 to 250 elderly folks' pets, and then do a public distribution on the tails of that. So a van load of food, and we're getting ready now. But I wanted to jump in because I was thinking about something that I heard someone say earlier, and I've been writing this section in the book in The Magic of Bending Time, working title. And it's just something that is so frustrating to me to hear, because with 15 years in the business of holding women's spaces for women to create businesses that work, that bring them, you know, the impact that they want to have, the income that they want to have, the free time that they want to have. This is something that I hear over and over again, and it's a real killer. It's a killer of business, like just straight up. It will cost you clients, it will cost you income. It's a killer of sanity. And it sort of enables you to stay stuck in a really uncomfortable way if you don't have the perspective and the support to look at this head on and solve for it. Hi, folks. Thanks for watching. Put a comment and tell me. I think, you know what? Don't. I mean, do, but I don't think I can see them. But do comment and tell me where you are and how you are. And of course, if this information is landing for you and what videos you want me to make. Anywho, the real thing. So when I work with women around structuring their time to grow their business, to grow their impact, to grow their income, their client list, but also their free time, their time for themselves, their time for their passion projects, their time for creating sanity and feeding their relationships. We work on three ways, or three like envelopes for their time. There are three categories of time that I work with women around creating in their schedule. One is time in, one is time on, and one is time off. Time in is the obvious stuff. It's when you're working with your clients, when you're doing the thing that you do. And that's the thing that most people got into business to do. Most of the women that I work with are women who are absolutely brilliant at the thing that they do, you know, healing, coaching, teaching, serving, building things, accounting, like whatever it is that they're doing, that's the thing that they really want to do. And that's the thing that they're good at, or they wouldn't be building that particular service or business. The tricky part is the time on. So time spent on your business is all of the time that you spend nurturing your business. And there are a lot of things that go into this category. So obviously, anything that you're doing around community building goes into time on. Anything that you're doing around networking, marketing, sales is a little bit more in than on. Networking, creating offerings or products or your services, that's time on. And then there's the inner pieces too. So time spent on your degree of comfort with visibility, your degree of comfort with wealth, your degree of comfort with shouting yourself out and claiming expertise. All of those go under time on as well, because they're things that you have to do in order to grow your business. And then, of course, there needs to be dedicated time off, which I'm not going to speak to today. I speak to that a lot. But what I really want to focus on today is the time on. Because if you're not focusing on, here's another thing that goes into time on, team management, or getting ready to build your business to a point where you can bring on team. Because eventually what's going to happen sooner, probably rather than later, is that you're not going to have the time or the skill set to hold all of the pieces that have to go under time on in order for your business to keep growing. And that's where you have to delegate it. And that can be a really scary piece. So I'll give you an example. In year one of in-arms coaching, I was doing everything. I was making barely any money. I supported myself with waitressing and bartending, myself and my kid and my dog. And I was doing everything. I was doing the coaching, of course, but I was also doing the scheduling, the client paperwork, the welcome packet, the contract, the payments, charging the cards every month, the social media posts, the website building, like anything that happened in my business, I was doing. And as a result, about 60% of what was going on in in-arms coaching was not being done well, because the thing that I really wanted to do was show up and coach women and support women and mentor women. I didn't want to know how to build a website. I didn't want to remember when and how to charge payments and send out contracts. I was horrible about sending out and getting back signed contracts. Horrible. So towards the end of the first year, probably, I started looking for a client care coordinator, someone who could do all of those pieces of client care that I wasn't good at and was honestly taking me a lot of time. That's the other thing about time on. If you're doing things that aren't in your zone of genius or in your zone of brilliance or that you do well, it's going to take you more time to do them. So towards the end of the second year, even though I was barely making ends meet, I decided to hire a client care coordinator. She charged $10 an hour, which I don't advocate paying anyone who does anything in your business, but this was also 14 years ago. She charged $10 an hour. I found her on Elance or something, and she did basic client care, scheduling, all the things that I just mentioned. And I hired her for 2 hours a week. And it made me nauseous to think that I was going to be responsible for 20 hours a week of paying, $20 a week of paying someone else, but I did it. And she created more time and space for me. She took a bunch of things off my plate, and I was able to grow and continue to the point where I have at least 6 brilliant women holding my business with and for me. But the thing about time on is that it can be really scary, because there are a lot of things that you have to master or at least get comfortable with for time on in order to make it effective. And those are the inner pieces I mentioned: visibility, claiming your expertise, standing in your value, interviewing, hiring, onboarding, and then managing team. Those are all things that some of us who get into business because we want to do what we love are not super adept at. Planning ahead, making marketing plans, making editorial calendars. These are all things that I teach and hold space for my clients to do. And what happens if you don't do them is that you eventually hit a wall where either your business hasn't grown, so you've maxed out your income, you've filled your hours, and the only way to grow your business is to work more hours, which is where women get into working, 50, 60, 70 hours a week when they actually quit a job to be able to control their own income. And I'll give you a quick example. I had a woman working within one of my programs, and she was, as a past client, she was really good at what she did, but it had nothing to do with building a business. And I kept saying, so she was spending all her time doing what she did, and she was frantic, and she was, yes, Bunny, totally. She was frantic. She was, whenever she worked with a client, she had she was getting an increasingly frantic energy that was it was kind of off-putting. And she wasn't spending any time on her business. So she was spending all of her work week in her business doing the things she does. She was getting a little bit sloppy. She was getting really stressed. It was really taking a toll on her mental health. And she didn't have time to plan ahead. She didn't have time to hire really competent, reliable helpers. She didn't have time to work on the other end, the business end, marketing, doing interviewing new clients, creating systems so that she could do more things in less time. She didn't have time for any of that. And I kept saying, listen, you're great at what you do. Your problem is not going to be lack of business. Your problem is going to be that you're not spending any time on your business, and you're going to max out of hours, and you're going to burn out. And she kept saying, well, I just don't have any time to spend on my business. I don't have any time to spend on my business. And I said, I hear you that it doesn't feel like you have time to spend on your business. It would be better if you took a client or two less a week and worked on this stuff, or you're going to hit a wall. And she just wasn't able to do that. She had a lot of resistance to working on her business. She had a lot of resistance to figuring out how to hire someone that she could really rely on and trust. She had a lot of resistance to doing any of the system stuff or getting things organized so that it was taking her less work to do more things. And she hit a wall and she totally lost her shit. And she dropped all of her clients. Not before she became really unreliable and really sort of ineffective at what she was doing. And it was really sad to me because I saw it coming miles away. And I think that sometimes there's just a lot of resistance to scaling and growing. And I get that, if your business is successful, there are probably equally scary things about it for you than there are if it's unsuccessful. And that's a really, really valuable thing to understand. I had a lot of resistance to in-arms coaching becoming successful and making me a lot of money and growing. I had a lot of reasons why that would make me uncomfortable or why that would be scary. And it wasn't until I really worked through those, or at least became aware of them and could work with them, that in-arms really started growing. And a lot of women just sort of, especially if you don't have the support and you don't have a team that understands what you're up against, it can be so daunting that women choose to just kind of burn out and throw up their hands instead and just go back to a paycheck job. And that's really what's at risk. If you're not looking at your inner stuff, if you're not looking at fear of visibility, if you're not looking at fear of success, if you're not looking at fear of wealth or discomfort with wealth, if you're not looking at your systems, your ability to hire and onboard really reliable, trustworthy people, if you're not looking at your growth plans, your marketing strategy, if you're not looking at all that stuff, sooner or later, your business will not work. And if you're okay with that, then honestly, there's just no reason to stay in your own business. It's so much easier just to get a paycheck. If you're not okay with that, think ahead of the wall and get some help in doing those things that feel really hard for you or feel really uncomfortable or that you don't know how to do. I'm going to have a workshop coming up at the end of this month called How to Use Focus Pocus in Your Business and to balance your life at the end of this month. And it's up. Just message me if you can't find it. It's up in Sacred Biz Rebels. It's up on my personal page. But I'm going to be showing women how to look at what you need in place for growth this year, not just on an outer level, but also on an inner level, so that you can see it ahead of time and you can actually see, oh, here's a piece that I'm going to need to tend to. This is a piece that historically has been difficult or uncomfortable for me. So let me look ahead of myself and figure out how not to self-sabotage. I got so excited about that. I swallowed my own spit wrong. You'd think after this much time on this planet, I'd know how to swallow my own saliva. Doesn't always work that way. Anyway, I would really, really love to have those of you who are interested in looking ahead and looking at what has and hasn't worked in the past and looking at what the specific actions and strategies that are going to feel good and aligned for you and that will help you to get towards your goal by the end of this year are, and how to set those up in a way that you're less likely to sabotage. And again, that's everywhere. Just let me know if you can't find it. But it is, it's coming up on the 22nd, I think. So that's your Friday video. Moxie's now asleep. The couches are a little bit better. You can't see her. You can see Diggy though. Look, he's already trashed the couch. That couch looked so good 10 minutes ago and he's already trashed it. Little dirtbag. Anywho, I'm off to play with about 3,000 pounds of dog food that's going north to seniors in need tomorrow. And I'm also going to make a new recipe for dinner, which I'm really psyched about, which is like chicken gyro pitas. Super psyched because I love tzatziki sauce. So tell me what you're having for dinner in the comments. If you're watching the replay or if you're watching me live, tell me what your particular blocks to growth are. Check out the Focus Pocus workshop and join me. Come work with me for 2 hours at the end of the month and we'll sort all this out together because it's less scary together. And if this has resonated with you, please help me by sharing it. Help me get it to more women, because it makes me so sad when I see women doing amazing things and either floundering or really, really stressed and unhappy or just giving up, because I see that every day and it makes me so sad. It just makes me so sad. There's no need for it. And I want to help. So please help me by sharing this video. And I hope that you have a great rest of your Friday. I'll jump in tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a video from our food distribution or showing you how much food we're giving out tomorrow to elders in need. But as usual, please let me know if there are any topics. I don't even know where I am in the 30 videos for 30 days, but let me know if there are any topics that you want me to speak to. And I'm here. I'm here for you. I'll make the videos. Tell me what to talk about. Have a great rest of your Friday, and I'll see you tomorrow.